So I was thinking the other day, yesterday, right, about why we are so, I guess you could say, divided as a society. Why we are so apart in society, right? Why there's no community, why there's no togetherness, why there's no unity, why there's no relationships, right? And I think I came up with a good reason why, right? This is not a reason that's out of the ordinary. I'm just going to break it down in a way maybe you haven't heard about it before, right? See, from my perspective, right? These women they're talking on TikTok and they're talking about men not complaining or not approaching. Well, let me start off like this. They're complaining that men are not approaching them today, right? Now, men are not approaching them for various reasons. They don't want to be called a creep in person. They don't want to be deemed as sexual harassment, lose their job. They don't want to take that risk and the woman flip the script and they get crucified on social media, right? But there's also an aspect of the guys who are just simply scared, right? Now, guys have always been nervous to approach girls, but the difference in time is we have phones, and back then they didn't have phones, right? See, back then, if you wanted to talk to a girl like 2000s back, or like 90s and back, you wanted to talk to a girl, you had to go up and talk to her. There was no other choice. You couldn't DM a woman. You couldn't find her snap, ask for her, whatever it was, and just DM and talk from there, right? You had to physically go up there and know how to talk to people. And that's where the breakdown is coming from. People talk about depression all the time. People talk about not being able to make friends, not be able to make friends and have community. All it stems from is you lack social skills. You don't know how to talk to other people, right? You're like Rajesh off of Big Bang Theory, right? You lack social skills. You don't know how to talk to people in general. That's why you're alone. That's why you feel anxiety. That's why you feel alone. Or one of the reasons why. See, in today's world, when we have social media and these phones and all that stuff, right? And this is something I'm beginning to notice in this day and age, right? I'm 24. I'm barely in Gen Z. I'm on the verge of being a millennial, right? A younger millennial. But instead, I'm an older Gen Z. So, as a guy, right, I'll sit back and watch people, and women are not really susceptible. They're not really in the right mind state when they go out to certain places to get approached, right? Or they're not in the same mind state. Maybe they're not even interested, right? But from my perspective, they're not even really receptive to people that approach them anymore, right? It's the weirdest dynamic that I've seen. Now, these women are going to sit up here on social media and talk about, well, these guys aren't approaching, right? And they would rather be approached and find something real in real life, right? But let's be honest, like the 80-20 rule has got to be the 90-10 rule now. It has to be, right? Especially on social media. It's probably like 95-5 on social media, right? But anyway, these women and these guys Since it's so much easier just to get on a dating apps, it's so much easier just to DM somebody and talk at a distance. Because that's what the phone is, right? You're talking to somebody a distance away. You're communicating with somebody that's a distance away that can't be right in front of you, right? So you text them, you snap them, you DM them, right? But that's killing the social dynamic, right? Because there's been occasions where these people meet up and they can't talk to each other. They have nothing to talk about because they don't know anything about in-person conversation. When they get in person, they're nervous, they're scared. This is the new dynamic that's going on in today's world, right? It's not just the women, it's the men as well. It's both of us. There's a barrier between us, and it's the phone. Now, once y'all get talking to each other in person, stuff like that, and then y'all get the text and all that stuff, it doesn't matter, right? Y'all can talk whenever, right? But on the initial contact, most people, it seems like they're more receptive to online stuff, to text messages, to all that stuff, than to get in person and talk to somebody, right? Because either they don't want to get approached by somebody in person, or they don't want to talk to somebody in person, or they lack the skills of talking in person. So the interaction never happens, right? This is why we're getting further and further away from real life interactions, right? Technology is creating a barrier so we can communicate without having to be in front of each other. It's the weirdest dynamic that's going on, right? And it's only going to hurt humankind because we're social creatures. We need in-person contact. We need in-person conversation. We need to feel and look at something that's actually real. But we're headed towards an artificial world. This is one of the problems we have with technology. It does a lot of good, but there's a lot of bad as well. There's pros and cons to everything. For every action, there's a reaction, right? These are some of the problems that we're having in our communities, right? This is why people feel alone. It's because people make friends through Facebook now. They don't talk in person with their neighbors. They don't bring some cookies over to their neighbors and introduce themselves over, right? There's not neighborhood watch meetings anymore. Everybody is in their own house doing their own stuff, right? This is what the problem is, and this is why we can't unify, right? Because we've built an individualistic society. And everybody wants to be an individual. Nobody wants to be a community. Like I said before, this is evidence of a society collapsing, right? This is what the beginning looks like. And at this point, we can't really do anything about it. Technology is here to stay. And these are the problems that we're going to have to go forth and deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? And the humans after us will look at this as history and analyze it and be like, hey, that didn't work. But I've said enough. That's my video. You guys go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you like the video, and we're out.